Vlog 139. I'm just laughing at something else. Hey everybody, it's me, Jaime the Shut-In Cartoonist, vlogcasting once again from the Tortilla Press World Headquarters located in Alameda, California on my second cup of coffee. Wanted to get that through. This one's going to be fast. You can hear out there right now though, the gardeners are out. It's just after 8. They actually start just before. So the gardeners are gardening, the politicians are politicking, the coronavirus is virusing, the racial strife is still racialing, and life continues in spite of other obstacles. Thank you so much for responding well to my my vlog yesterday, and continue to do so. That's a good dialogue to go. I've been reading it and responding in kind to what we're all feeling and seeing. Another thing I wanted to talk about is there's reports I'm seeing some of my old high school pals that, lean another way than I do politically, talking about San Francisco. There's a handful of documentaries out now about the homeless crisis in San Francisco. As a person who's lived there, when I was a child and as an adult, I've been in the Bay Area, God, we're getting near 40 years now, and grew up not far from it. There's always been a homeless problem there. There's just more people now. But the little tidbit they always seem to leave out in these documentaries is it's not just San Francisco. I travel a bit. Up until the shelter in place, I go to other major cities around the country, and it's just as bad everywhere else. Name the place. I mean, LA's, off the charts. San Jose's getting it. Oakland, I live right next to it. I could almost see it. I live right next to Oakland, and it's horrible. It's Seattle, Portland, Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Dallas. You can just go down the list, and it's not a as some of these people are painting it. It's not a party like the Democrats made it this way, or the Republican. No, man, it's been a problem forever. I mean, they're blaming, being the Republicans, are blaming Obama for this homelessness. And I'm like, well, shit, I lived there before Obama was even a senator, and it was bad. And there was a Republican in the House, So let's not be duped, people. Let's, take your heads out of your asses and really realize that it's the political elites that are playing us all. Read Machiavelli. It's a Machiavellian move, divide and conquer. And it's working perfectly in this country. So let's watch out for that, because when you get down to the end of the day, the owners of this country, i.e. the corporations, are what run everything, and the Democrats or Republicans, depending on whatever side of the fence you believe in, talk about fantasy, they're pushing their agenda, they're pushing whatever corporations are backing's agenda. That's what it really comes down to. And we as people, they only care about us, for the vote and the money. That's it. So I'm not a communist. I'm not a socialist per se. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm just a person. But I like to think of a person that thinks, and I'm a critical thinker. I read a lot, not just Facebook. I read a lot. I also read books, How about reading, I don't know, for starters, some of you. It's a big tome I'm going through for the second time, is The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. That's an incredible book, and clue you in on some of the stuff. And then some of you, statue Robert E. Lee believers and Columbus, mongers and all that, you guys will understand, the country was built on racism and greed. So, and let me make that clear, is that African slaves were not brought here because Europeans were like, oh, I hate them so much, let me bring them over here to abuse them. No, it was free labor. Once again, it was greed. So that's how they looked at chattel slave. They looked at a slave just like they look at a burro, do the work. That's all, So I'm getting a little bit, off track a little bit, but bringing it all back around to homelessness. And, the whole homeless plight right now is scary, because it's not just, like when we were kids growing up, it was generally just, drunks, right? We used to call them winos. Remember winos back in the day? And then it became drug addicts, because then winos and heroin addicts were pretty much the rigor, the standard of the day. But And of course, that got bigger and became just alcoholics and drug addicts. And then, of course, when Prop 13 came through in the 70s, and a lot of the institutions, like up in Napa and stuff, all these mental health programs and institutions were shut down. These people were released back out of the populace. Now, our work for the mentally incapacitated, I guess you could say, or have issues, is dwindling. It's dwindled for years, and again, the groups are fighting against each other. Who's blaming? It's the blame game. You know, places like Japan, they don't have the blame game. They look for the problem, they find it, they solve it. Not here. So it's just a blame game, but nothing gets done, and the problems just they're there, and they just get bigger. And that's what it all started, really. You know, it got out of control. Our population is growing, so now it's just not people with severe mental issues, alcoholism, or drug addicts out there. Now, like a third of the population is becoming regular folks like you and I that are homeless, that have jobs, that have families, but are living in their cars, RVs, trucks, whatever they have, tents, I don't know. You see them over here. So they're not all these other people. I told a friend this, and he says, well, why don't they just move? How are you going to move? Is your job going to move with you? Is there going to be a job on the other end? You know, it's a complicated issue, you know, but it can be solved. I don't have answers, but I'm just saying this. The fucking king has no clothes. All right, everybody, I'll leave you with that. Thanks for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe down below, or get rid of me if you want. You can even just delete me. It's, you know, it's up to you. You do you. All right, all. Thank you so much for going out today. Don't forget to mask up. Don't forget to wash your hands, and stay indoors. Stay away from people. If you can do that, that'd be the best. And remember, though, the best thing to do is be kind to yourself and be kind to others. All right, everyone. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for joining me.